there, hope you're doing great today. In today's quick video, I'll cover the point of refinance in syndications. Before I dive into the topic, just a quick reminder that my videos are for educational and entertainment purposes only and do not constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. First of all, when it comes to refinances in a syndication, you may want to complete one, but I personally don't want to never ever plan on one in my underwrite. You may want to see what the numbers look like if you were to embed a refinance in the numbers, but you do not want your business plan to depend on a refinance. If you must include a refinance for any reason, you want to ensure that you have a very conservative set of underwriting or refinance assumptions to avoid negative surprises, especially if the rate environment or market or lending environment at the time of your expected or projected refi is not favorable. And that's why I don't want to include that in my numbers. If anything, they'll inflate returns even more in most cases. Number two depends on what type of refinance you do, and a lot of that of course is ultimately driven by the underlying market factors, but there are two types of refinances that you will typically encounter. One is a cash in refinance and the other one is the cash out refinance. The cash in refinance effectively means that you had sufficient equity or some equity, right, to tap into to be able to take out by completing the refinance, but that additional liquidity that the refinance generated, you will likely be using to support existing operations of the property, whether it's to boost additional reserves that may be running low or to support additional capex projects for which the budget was not sufficient, or any other liquidity needs that the business may require. And in that case, proceeds from the refinance will not be distributed to investors. The cash out refinance is where you have ability to distribute some or all of the proceeds, again depending on how much cash you're able to take out, to existing investors. And what typically that does is it has the potential for returning part or all of their initial principal. In most cases it will be hard because it takes at least two refinances to get to that 100% return of principal, but that can be a very powerful tool because that returned initial capital to the investors they can use to invest in another deal that will keep turning and making their hard-earned money work for them. And typically what will happen is if you are in a deal that pays a preferred return, let's just say you invested 100,000, 50,000 was returned back to you through a refinance. The preferred return in the existing deal after the refinance will remain, but it will be accruing on the lower principal amount of 50,000. Why? Because 50,000 was already returned to you. So that's an important item to remember or distinguish. And again, your ownership share, none of that is reduced, that stays the same. If anything, especially if you're lucky to go through a cash out refinance, your returns will be much higher than anticipated because one, you're getting your principal back or part thereof sooner, and now you can put it to work. And that refinance is typically not a taxable event because the source of funds for the refi is debt, and debt is not typically taxed, at least in real estate investments. So I hope you found today's video helpful in terms of clearing some of the misconceptions when it comes to refinance and syndications. And if you did, please share and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.